Bullies only understand one language. And the people of the state of Florida just stood up and punched the COVID bullies in Washington, D.C. square in the mouth, and they folded like a cheap suit. They may come back again, and we will punch them in the mouth again. That's how Florida man deals with Washington, D.C. Some weeks ago, I began making videos talking about this issue with the cruise lines, and our governor stood up and said, no, there will be no vaccine passports in the state of Florida. Our legislature agreed with him. They passed a law. We signed it into law. Any cruise line trying to do it, $5,000 per event. Now, many said, oh, DC's not going to let this happen. They're in charge of the ports. You can't. Really? Really? 5 June 2021. Royal Caribbean reverses vaccination mandate for passengers on cruises departing from ports in Florida and Texas as tensions over vaccine passports intensify. Here's what that really means. The cruise lines looked at Governor DeSantis in the state of Florida, and they looked at Joe Biden in Washington, D.C. And guess who they were more afraid of? Yep, that's right. And they're not going to do anything about it in D.C. because they know they can't do anything about it in D.C. 5 June 2021. Royal Caribbean announced Friday that passengers will not be required to show proof of vaccination. The move is a reversal from a May policy that mandated vaccines for all travelers over age 16. The policy applied to ships in Florida and Texas, states that recently passed laws against vaccination requirements. Still think we're playing? Still think it's a joke? Some people looked at this map and said, oh, McKee, you're dreaming. You can't secede. You can't flex it. Really? We just punched Washington, D.C. and their COVID nonsense right in the face, and they're going to do nothing about it. Period. As evidenced by the announcement from Royal Caribbean. It can be done. It can be done in your state, and if it's not being done in your state, you need to look to your governor and your legislature, and you need to ask them why. This is something that I've said for a long time. Many people have taken me to issue with it and to task with it, saying that the only solution is in Washington, D.C., and we need to get the last president back in and all this. There have been more wonderful events in the states in the last 100 days than I can count. California just had a federal judge reverse their assault weapons ban. How many states have stood up and passed laws affirming that abortion is aberrant? How many states have tightened up their voting rolls? Dozens and dozens have done this. States have declared themselves sanctuary states for the Second Amendment. We are one of them. You can do it. If it's not being done, it's not DC's fault. It's yours. Period. It's just the way it is. After 30 years of laughing at Florida, nobody's laughing anymore. See, we don't play this down here. We know that we are all flawed. We are all fallen. We all have mistakes. We all have things in our past we're not proud of. We all have decisions that we've made in our past that we're not proud of. That doesn't disqualify us from service. But unfortunately, right now, Florida is the only place that seems to be doing anything. Other states like Texas have tried to follow, but we could sure use some help out on the leading edge. But make no mistake, we don't need it. We don't need it. Now, this might make some people mad. That's fine. Florida's good at that. All y'all up there at that Red Pill Expo, you need to check yourself. You see, Dr. Destruction, Dr. Shiva Ayudurai or whatever, also known as Mr. Fran Drescher, decided to drop a video a couple weeks ago talking about how foolish Governor DeSantis was, about how our lawsuits were going to fail, about he really didn't know what the problem was, and that he was really part of the left-right paradigm that was part of this huge deep state plot that was so hopeless, and only Dr. Shiva can save us. This guy needs a nice, tall, frosty cold glass of shut the fuck up. And all of you who went to Red Pill Expo decided to sit there and fawn over this guy need to check yourselves too the next time you decide you want to take an issue with our governor. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But if I have a choice between listening to a United States Navy trained JAG officer talk about the law or some random guy married to Fran Drescher, I think I might listen to the guy who's actually had some training in court. But, maybe that's just me. Maybe you have another standard by which you want to measure what qualification is. I don't know how many more events we can illuminate on this channel coming out of the state of Florida that show DC is just the little man behind the curtain. They are not the great and powerful Oz. They are not. They can be defeated. They have a game. The game is up. And if you're willing to just let go of your preconceived notions about what things should have been last year and go forward, we can win in a way that people never even dreamed of. We literally just defeated the CDC. We defeated Joe Biden. We defeated the Democrat agenda. The decision is a stark reversal from the company's initial vaccine mandate announced last month, which required vaccinations for all passengers over 16. After Friday's announcement, Royal Caribbean's frequently asked questions page has been updated to show that vaccines will only be required for ships departing from Seattle, Washington, and the Bahamas. Wow, liberal places. Imagine that. The reason they're not doing it here? They'd get fined. In Florida, quote from the governor, "Your personal choice regarding vaccinations will be protected, and no business or government entity will be able to deny you services based on your decisions." Still think it's America? Still think state lines don't matter? They've always mattered. This is the real big secret. This is the thing they don't want you to know. That in your states, if it's not happening like it's happening in Florida, it's not DC's fault. Your governors are just too chicken to stand up to the bully because they have some other agenda that maybe you don't know about, Tennessee. Maybe you don't know about South Dakota. Maybe you don't know about Montana. It's time to put up or shut up and stop listening to the doom and gloom, naysayers that say, oh, poor us, woe is me, and the only victim out there was the last president. It's just not the truth. It's not reality. The reality is it can be done, and if it's not being done, it is your fault. Period. Daniel Craig once said that with his kid, that he said, if your kid's bullying mine, my kid has instructions to try to de-escalate, but if your kid keeps it up, my kid has instructions to haul off and punch yours right in the mouth. Paraphrasing there, not the exact quote. We said no, and no stands. And that's how that works. God bless. Like, share, subscribe. See you tonight on Twitter. Pardon me. Not Twitter. See you tonight on Twitch. God bless.